Thank you for joining me at Round One Sports Talk. I am your host, Edwin, and we got a lot to talk about here. As you join the channel, please let me know that loud and clear. Um, I have a lot to discuss on this Ryan Garcia weigh-in, missing weight, Devin Haney, and I want to talk more about boxing as always. I will be going up and down, covering all aspects of boxing and what's going on. Hey, what's up, Frontline? How you doing? Salute. I'm gonna let a couple people join the chat, and we're gonna get this show started. And I want to really see how many people I can get into this live chat right here, and we can start to talk about this because I have a different look on what's going on right now, and I want to share that with you guys. Audio loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I know that my audio's loud and clear. Everything's checking. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this off. And as you join in, you guys can catch up. Look, Ryan Garcia. Wow, wow. Okay, on first glance, as I was covering the weigh-in, as you guys know, you most of you guys had found out about the news, and I was a little bit behind, and I soon caught up. Right, I watched the weigh-in. I watched all the you know everything that took place. Ryan Garcia chugging a beer on, well, not necessarily. He said it was a beer, but we really don't know what was in it. He could have been chugging water, okay? As a ploy. Give me an empty bottle, fill it with water, boom, like that, right? Okay. And the reason why I'm saying all this is because a lot of boxers are coming out right now, and a lot of people are giving them shit about being unprofessional and coming in overweight. At first glance, that's exactly what I thought, and I spoke about it. As I sat back and I started thinking, I started saying to myself, wait a minute. He fought Javante Davis, and Javante Davis had a rehydration claw and a 10-pound weight claw on him as well, right? Um, and he felt real dehydrated in that fight. One thing I took away from that fight later on is when I heard King Davis himself talk about Ryan Garcia. And in fact, he did give Ryan Garcia his credit for being the hardest puncher he's ever come up against. He said he hits different, Ryan Garcia. And I was like, okay, right? And that's a deplenished Ryan Garcia. So, and then I went on and I looked at Luke Campbell's fight. And I noticed, what I was trying to look at is how fighters hurt Ryan Garcia. Instead, what I came away from that fight was Luke Campbell couldn't keep him down. And I was like, wait a minute. Luke Campbell, he's a gold medalist. The kid hits hard. It seemed like to enrage Ryan. Ryan gets up and finishes him. So I'm like, okay, Ryan doesn't stay down. He'll get up. When he got hit with that body shot, mind you, he got hit by one of the hardest punchers in all of boxing, Tank Davis. He's up there when it comes to knockout power in boxing. That's who knocked out Ryan Garcia. Okay? And he didn't knock him out by punching him in the jaw. In fact, he had to hit him on the body. Then Ryan said something about some fractured ribs. Whether it was true or not, I don't know. And he's dehydrated, deplenished. He's got a weight claw on him. So, and then I started doing more investigation, right? And I looked at his next fight. That was scheduled at 140. Then it was later revisit and they made it a catch weight at 143. And I was like, wait a minute, that's right. Ryan couldn't even make the 140 back then, and it's just his last fight. I said, okay, right? What's going on through Ryan's head? Apparently, he doesn't want to be dehydrated or deplenished, right? So now I've seen this in the sport of boxing where history shows that fighters have in fact anticipated on coming in and missing weight, where that they decided they're not going to deplenish themselves and not on this fight. It might, I might have to pay a penalty, but I'm going to make sure that I come in at the heaviest and that the next night over, I gain the maximum amount of weight. When I was thinking about that at the same time, I took a look at Devin Haney. Mind you, remember I was telling you guys that why did Devin Haney had like the shirts on and stuff? He really wanted to show the world that he was really cutting weight and that he was, he was being a professional about it. He stood true to his word. But when I looked at him, he's doing the interview on stage. His eyes are blinking. He's like this. Those are signs of dehydration, right? He was like, staying, trying to focus in the conversation. If you was to jab Devin Haney in that moment, you knock him out. Straight knock Devin Haney out right then and there. If you would just hit him with a power jab, pow, you would knock Devin Haney the fuck out. I guarantee it, right? So I started thinking, and I said to myself, wow, the weigh-in was pretty late itself, the original one. And he's gonna be fighting tomorrow night. Will Devin Haney be able to replenish as good? Ryan Garcia looked healthy. Ryan Garcia had energy on that stage. Did you see Devin Haney? He was like this. He was he was like preserving all his energy to talk a little bit of shit. That's all he had in him, right? Ryan's up in there, fuck you, ba ba ba, right? Then you see, you see Ryan Garcia, right? You know, some people might call his antics despicable, yelling to the crowd like that, you know, um, saying "suck my dick," basically and stuff like that, and that's real class. He's not showing class at all. Some people might take it like that, and others people might see it like, you know, Ryan Garcia won like the bigger moment in the weigh-in, and Devin Haney won the weigh-in. And then Ryan Garcia, right? Another interesting point is it's being reported that he paid him the money, the 1.5 already. Like he signed off on it. Was like, yeah, Devin, here. He said, now I'm a man of my word. Now you be a man of your word, and you say you meet me in the center of the ring. Devin Haney coming into this fight a little dehydrated and not really fully replenished, and Ryan Garcia max him out on his weight, he might knock Devin Haney out. If Devin Haney is foolish enough to meet Ryan Garcia in the middle of the ring, Devin Haney might not have enough pop in his punch to hurt Ryan like that early. Accumulation of punches throughout the fight, yes. One punch stopping power, no. Um, Ryan Garcia's been hit with some big shots in his career by big punchers. Okay. Um, Hank Davis is the biggest puncher, bro. So, and Luke Campbell's a decent puncher, Um, Dwight Duarte, nah, uh, but he's been hit with some good shots, and it seems like as far as the jaw goes, no one's been able to knock Ryan out. Now I'm starting to do the math on all of this, and I'm saying to myself, I think Ryan had no intention on making weight. I think Ryan knew that. I think Ryan set this all up from the beginning. He knew he wasn't going to make it, so he made a bet with Devin Haney about making weight. Once Devin Haney feels like he won the bet, he's going to take that as a flaw. He's going to lure and set Devin Haney up to meet him in the center of the ring. And I think he just paid $1.5 million to make that so. Yeah. Ryan Garcia It's crazy to think with all these antics and everything that's going on, for me to sit here and think that somehow, some way, this is benefiting him, right? It's crazy to sit there and think that. But that's exactly what I'm thinking. Um, Ryan Garcia is strong, man. See, the one, look, the kid's strong. He just might be bigger than Devin Haney coming into this fight too, as well. I don't think he's gonna be the weight bully in this one. Okay, and being the fact Tank Davis, a few people did come out and say Ryan does hit exceptionally hard, and I know he has the speed to catch up to Devin Haney. That's without question. Once he starts loosening up, if he's still around in this fight in the fourth round, and Ryan's, he starts to really feel himself out, and he's felt what Devin Haney basically has to offer. At that point, I think that if Devin Haney does accept the challenge and meet him at the center of the ring, if he escapes that, if he gets hit hard, big, and he's able to escape it, he's not going to meet Ryan again in the middle of the ring, right? He's going to get on his bike and he's going to do the basic Devin Haney one punch, two punch, get in, get out sequence, is what he's going to try to do. Um, Ryan Garcia is just going to stalk him. He's going to put that pressure on him where Devin Haney's going to see the windows and he's going to want to take his shot. In the moment of Devin Haney taking the shot on Ryan, which is going to be there, he's going to catch Ryan. The thing I'm starting to see is that he might be able to walk through Devin Haney's punch to land his. And Ryan Garcia's punches might be a little heavier than Devin Haney's punches. Now, this fight might be a real test to see how tough Devin Haney really is. It could be turning out to be one of those kind of fights where Devin Haney's really tested. Or it could be the kind of fight where Ryan Garcia walks into something he doesn't see. And we all know it's the punch that knocks you out is the one you don't see. You're not going to need a lot of power, nothing. Good placement and timing, and you walking into it, not seeing it, and embracing, it'll knock you the fuck out. It'll knock anyone out, So, um, and a lot of times when like Ryan keeps his head up. Now I've noticed that in his workouts, he is tucking in his chin a lot better. I did notice that when he was hitting the pads, and I never mentioned it. I failed to mention it in my last videos, and that was one of the things I did wanted to talk about when I was watching Ryan Garcia, hit pads with Derek James. He looked like his chin was in the right position every time. Like when he was shadow boxing, his chin was down. He was hitting the pads, his chin was down. Not where like, when he came into the Luke Campbell fight, man, he looked like a giraffe, like a baby giraffe. Just his head was in the sky, looking above the cloud, like, you know what I mean? It was just up there. Easy target if you can hit it, you know. Um, I know that Devin Haney possesses a lot more skill. He does have good footwork. Devin Haney's gonna go downstairs to the body with that stabbing jab. I could see him doing that to Ryan and then trying to get Ryan frustrated. As far as both these boxers being counter punchers, the best counter puncher is Devin out of the two, right? So I don't think it's gonna be a sequence where Ryan's looking to really set him up like traps, not unless Derek James has really taught the young man better. I've never seen Ryan set traps. All I ever see Ryan basically do is a little bit of boxing, very small, and he just fights. That's it. That's what Ryan Garcia has been doing this entire time. A little bit of boxing, and then he just fights. That's it. So, as far as strategy, he's never been or shown me the type of that he can be the type of boxer where that he's been setting you up for a certain kind of punch. He's just the type of fighter that's trying to get his distance and his timing down, and he's just gonna hit you with the shots. He's gonna try to get you closer, closer, and then he's just gonna throw his as far as timing goes, not really like necessarily Ryan's like that kind of fighter. He just knows it's there. If he missed you last time, he's just like, okay, it's I can try to get it again. He'll throw it again, the same punch, but it's not like he's adjusting anything on it. He just knows to throw it. That's just fighting, you know. Um, so it's very interesting that I saw him miss weight and his whole demeanor about it. It was like it was planned. It was like, you know, he didn't care, but I know that it wasn't talked about. That's for sure. When he missed weight, I dare you go back and look at Oscar De La Hoya's expression in the back. That's his boxing promoter. He had no clue. They just kind of went with it. That's their guy. And in promotion, you learn no matter what's going on, always look at the positive of every bad situation. That's promotion 101 as a boxing promoter. You know, Boxing promoters learn not to shoot their fighters. You got to do what you got to do. Oscar got on. He was like, "Nah, everything's all right. Everything's fine. We got ourselves a fight tomorrow night." You know what I mean? Like, like Oscar was like, being a good promoter. And you could see that somebody must have gave Benel Hopkins the memo, bro, you talk too much, right? And he got up, we got ourselves a fight, and boom. That's the shortest I've ever heard Benel Hopkins talk at any interview, when as him and Oscar as promoters, he goes into these rants like cheers, right? So somebody must have told him, yo, Oscar, but a lot of things were set up there at the whole time. Oscar, he conducted himself well. As you can see, now he's the face of Oscar promotion. Back in the day, you didn't see Oscar much. It was that other dude that ran all that, and now Oscar's like, he's the one out there, really, really, promoting his fighters and stuff with Hopkins there. But yeah, look, listen, this is gonna be one of listen, guys. If Ryan Garcia, all the shit that he's gonna walk away and be pointing to everybody and saying, "I told you so." Oh my God, we're gonna have to hear Ryan Garcia's mouth for everything he did. Now, by a win, will solidify in his head he was right the whole time. No matter how much stupid shit he did and said, and we know he wrong for some of this shit, right? If he wins, oh my God, that is just gonna. If he wore a crown before and rode on a horse, listen. What do you think he's gonna do now? Huh? He's gonna have a spaceship, right? He's gonna lose his mind. I don't know. And look, this goes to show, right, that look how depleted and weight drained Devin Haney is. He's really not even no longer a 140 pounder. He needs to move up already. Ryan Garcia doesn't look like he can make 140 pounds if he hasn't made 140 pounds his last two fights, right? The last three, right? So shit. And they goes to show that these boys need to move up into their real weight divisions. And it goes to show how some fighters are reluctant to do that because those guys hit hard, a lot harder. And when you're a natural And those guys, some of those guys are cheating and cutting a lot of weight. So you're fighting even a bigger guy. And when you see your fighter and next to those kind of fighters in the gym, and you see a 140, a 150 pounder, and your 140 pounder hitting the bag, and you hear bang from the other side of the room, you're like, damn, what weight you in? And that guy's cutting weight to make that. So, Devin Haney's really killing himself to make this weight because moving up, hmm, it's risky. It's really risky. They weren't just born with, that kind of punching power. Like Ryan Garcia has the punching power, he just doesn't have Devin Haney's skill. And that's due to, in fact, to himself. He should have been getting a lot better this entire time. But I think that this was a ploy. And I think it was set up from Ryan Garcia's team. I think he was going to try to make weight, or get as close as he could, but he was playing that tightrope where that he thought he was still young enough that he could fart and lose 5 pounds. Sometimes your body betrays you and you start to learn that your body is not cutting weight like it once did. Every fighter runs into that experience, and that's when you get that fighter missing weight, right? Um, but I think Ryan Garcia is really trying to maximize on his size. I think the game plan entirely is to take Devin Haney's power, fight Devin Haney's ego, get him to engage with you. You're the harder puncher, the heavier puncher, and you'll win most of the exchanges. As the rounds keep going on, and Devin Haney is getting battered, you should have him nice softened up, eighth, ninth round. He'll be nice softened up. And then that's when Ryan Garcia is hoping to unleash his arsenal. Whether or not his training holds up, it's one thing to have a plan, but can your fighter pull it off? Is Ryan Garcia in shape like that? Or is he missing weight and he's going to gas out in this fight? And all this shit comes crashing down. Devin Haney goes in there and really just wipes him down. You see Devin Haney with the Mexican flag, right? That's a smart move. And throughout the course of boxing, it's a smart move to show Mexican fans respect. And there has been a lot of American fighters that have done as such. It started off kind of with Floyd Mayweather. I think it might have been, other fighters before him, but the one that really set it off the most was Floyd because of his uncle. His uncle used to be the Mexican assassin. He would come out with the black Mexican hat, but he used it as like, you know, a fuck you to Mexico, his uncle. What Floyd did, I think on accident. I'm not sure if he really thought this through. Or maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe you got to give Floyd credit for this. What he did was he pleads to both sides. The Americans already know who he is, and the fighter that won the fight has Mexican shorts on. So as a Mexican fan, when you're looking, that's our flag right there, and his hands being raised. They're showing respect to the rich Mexican culture, but also because there's a big fan base in Mexico, like Saul Canelo Alvarez, the way they got him. They'll travel, and it's good to get a lot of support, right? One thing as well, whether you know this or not, Devin Haney does have love from the Mexicans. And Devin Haney has ties with a lot of Mexican in Mexico. In fact, young Devin Haney fought his way out of Mexico in his early part of his career. He had a lot of Mexican fights in Mexico. He knows a lot of fighters out there, coaches. Him and his dad, they had to talk to people out there, right? There was some Mexicans out there that spoke English and showed them love, sat down, ate with them. You know, there were some Mexicans in there cheering for young Devin Haney inside of those bars, putting money on him. You know, he does have some friends, you know, and he came out and he took the Mexican flag, and Ryan Garcia is Mexican, right? And he's putting up they flag, to try to win over the Mexican fan base too as well. Devin Haney. Um, it's a smart ploy. You know what I'm saying? And you can't hate on a fighter for that, for showing respect, and love to, your opponent's country as well. It's I've seen a lot of fighters do that, may wear Mexican shorts and stuff when they're fighting against a Mexican fighter. They're like telling the Mexican fight fans, yo, I'm gonna beat on your guy, but you guys are gonna win too, in fact, because I'm rocking your flag. You know what I mean? I'm gonna knock your guy out, but I'm gonna put your flag up. You know what I mean? And it's a smart move. It's a smart move. But I think out of all fighters in the world, I believe Mexico, more fighters have wore Mexican flags and not being Mexican than any nationality in the world. I have never seen a Japanese dude wear American trunks. Matter of fact, I ain't never seen a Mexican dude come out and rocking American trunks. Born, raised Mexican fighter, not a Mexican that was born in America. I seen that. I'm talking about born, raised fighter. We're talking about born, raised American fighters putting on Mexican trunks. We born here. So you got to be born from Mexico and put on American flag shorts. Never seen that in my life. I've never seen a Russian put on Japanese trunks. Never. I ain't never seen anywhere else but that. And it's because of what Mexico represents in boxing too as well. And what Mayweather started, kind of. You know what I mean? They just got a rich culture of boxing. They've been here with us the whole time. In boxing as anyway. So yeah. Yeah. Um Let me read some of y'all comments and catch up with you guys and get your thoughts and reactions on this whole thing and what's going on, because I see you guys is typing, and I've been chatting it up, doing the Bernal Hopkins. What's up, baby? Salute, guys. I hope Ryan sleeves Haney front line. If Haney wins, who you think is next for Haney? There's no telling what's next for Haney, but I know if I was Devin Haney, being the fact that a little bit the fans have kind of turned on you from that Lomo fight, and if he can win some more fans back and get on that high, you don't want to start getting on a high and fight a lackluster kind of guy, right? I would think after this fight, if he beats Ryan, like impressively, go after Tio. After Tio finishes that fight in Honduras, be at his fight. Walk in the ring and straight up challenge him in front of everybody. Because Tio's going to beat that guy, right? So I would put myself there on fight night if I was Devin Haney. And I would try to fight Tio. Yes, I would. Um, I was thinking that Subriel Matias and Isa Pitbull Cruz fight is looking better and better in my head. Subriel Matias does have history with the PBC fighting on their cards. Now he's signed with Matchroom, Ed Hearns, and Ed Hearns, he's done business with them before. Um, and I think it'll be an easier fight to make with Subriel and Isa Pitbull Cruz. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. But I believe that Devin Haney's next move is definitely going to want to be for a unification fight. He's already up there with this status, and he's got this stigma that he's Devin Haney, the undisputed champion of the world in one weight division already. You don't need to start fighting like, you know, small rank guys taking more tune up fights. What you need is start to like capitalize on your moment. You're gonna want to ride this wave if it's that big of a wave. For Devin Haney anyway. That would be a fight that he's been chasing for a long time. The fans want to see it. Tio, Devin, um, and then I think that it'll do big numbers, and I think it'll be good for both fighters. What pockets? I think it'll give put a nice coin inside Tio's pocket, and I think it'll put a nice coin inside of Devin Haney's pocket. Yeah, and it just makes dollars and cents. We just got to get these fighters to agree to fight. And I believe that's his next opponent because that fight's a long. We've been Tio and Devin. We wanted that fight for a long time. So Briel Matias is coming into the conversation now because they're invading his division. So Blair was there the whole time. He was there chilling, just knocking people out, taking belts, fishing, looking for opponents. And all of a sudden, all these guys come up popping shit. Smaller guys, too, from the 135. And all of a sudden, he's like, what do you mean these guys are the best 140 pounders? I've been here the whole time. These guys just walking in through the door. What a disrespect. Man, tell him to fight me. And he's out there fishing. You see? And and that's why he's coming into the conversation now. But Tio and Devin have history, and that fight would sell itself. A unification too, it would sell itself. And that's where I believe Devin has to go from here. That's what I would really shoot for. No, I wouldn't shoot for anything less. And then if not him, I'd try to call Eastside Pitbull Cruz. you know? I hope you're not about to go off. I need the time to come on, bro. How many times did Haney and Ryan Garcia in the amateurs? There's 6 times. They're 3-3. But the ages were far too young. They were far too young that when I started checking out like the age when, like they ain't fought each other. It's not like they fought each other at like 18, 17. No, by 17 years old, Devin Haney was already fighting in Mexico in the bars. That's why he was fighting in Mexico because he was too young to fight in America. And his father wanted to get him the best experience he could. And if you can fight your way out of Mexico as a 17-year-old kid, yeah, you can turn pro. You see? So it's not like they fought. I mean, they fought when they were babies, 10 years old, 9 years old type shit, 13. I think 13 was the last time they fought, for God's sake. They weren't even young men at that time. They had no kind of strength. So I would never judge that, you know. I would never judge that off that. I watched the fight. Okay. Yeah, yeah, Frontline. Yeah, 3-3. Yeah. Oh, Frontline already answered that for you. You think Ryan's gonna get tired? You think so? Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Devin has enough pop to hurt a big kid like Ryan. I'm starting to see that. Maybe he might be able to break him down, throughout the course of the fight, an accumulation of punches, him taking damage all night. I could see that playing out. Devin Haney does work the body very well. Keep it in mind. that if you were thinking about it through the lenses of Bill Haney and Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia's only loss was a body shot. He didn't get knocked out, by a shot to the jaw. So I pretty think that that's a part of their plan to go downstairs to the body on Ryan. That, so and when he was hitting Lomachenko with those shots, I just want to alert you guys to one thing, whether you see this or not, okay? Lomachenko is a very good fighter. He has great movement. And the one thing that Lomachenko has is his feet. He has very, very smart feet. Okay. He's the type of fighter that he doesn't have to think about what his feet are doing. His feet are just automatically doing them, bro. His feet are sharp. They're really sharp. For a boxer, he has one of the best footwork out of like a lot of boxers. Okay, and a lot of boxers criticize him for his footwork, like, oh, he's not the Matrix. That doesn't look that impressive. Then why ain't you doing it? You see, it's easy to look at something and say, I can do that. No, you're not. You can't maintain it like he does. Okay. And that's one thing that Loma really has, right? And he has a good punch selection. But Lomachenko, I said all of that to say this. He has a big flaw, a huge flaw. In all of his fights, I saw the same thing. Loma has an amateur style of boxing. Yes, I just said that, and you heard that 100% correctly. His defense as a boxer, Loma, his elbows are too far up like an amateur, like this. In amateur boxing, your hands are already adjusted front like this because you're fighting 3-round fights. It's a lot of offense. It's not he was in the amateur so long, not one gold medal, but two, that he can't break that flaw. It's easy to hit Loma to the body if you didn't know that. His guard is up here all the time. He doesn't have a pro guard. No, he has an amateur guard. He fights like a pro. He has pro skills, and that's why he's so skillful. That's why he was able to get by all those guys. Because even if someone saw it, to get to his body, you would have to be really good. So Loma never corrected that mistake. And Devin Haney exploited that on their fight on that night. I just want you to know this, right? That's the truth. Okay. I know this because I know I'm watching Loma's style. But yeah, he Devin Haney was right underneath him. Boom. And he would hit him with that same shot. And Loma, even though he was taking the punches, and you know, his gas tank was held all the way up to like the 11th round good. Devin Haney bit down on the mouthpiece on the 12th round. And he showed that, I think that 12th round really won him the fight, Devin Haney. But he stood his ground with Loma in the 12th. And that's what won Tio the fight, the 11th and 12th round against Loma. But Loma's real susceptible to body shots. Yeah. It's just that he's typically not there. So it's kind of hard to get him. You might gotta have to get hit with a shot in order to get him. And that's kind of what Devin Haney did. So, these are reads that high level fighters can make in the moment in the ring. And I know that Devin Haney can work the body real well. If you give him that, Ryan Garcia's defense doesn't convince me. And like I said, him missing weight right now, kind of I'm leaning towards the side. He's just preparing himself to be bigger so that he's that much stronger to walk through Devin Haney's punches. The only way Derek James and his team thinks they can beat Devin Haney is they can by brute force. They're gonna try to. Ryan's just gonna try to drop bombs on him. He's gonna hit him anywhere, top of the head, shoulders, arms. Derrick James is training him to punch Devin Haney anywhere because he hits hard. And he's trying to convince Ryan Garcia, doesn't matter where you hit him, you know. And Devin looked frail as hell, bro. Devin didn't look like that. He looked, his eyes were blinking. He was going like this. That's dehydration right there. Those are signs. That's exactly what I'm looking for in the thing. I'm like, up, yep, there it is. He's dehydrated like a mother. Like, I was like, and you can see he had like all his energy was powered to his voice box so he could talk a little shit, but he was defenseless as a fighter. Like, like, nah, he couldn't fight. Like, oh my God. So, yeah, that's what I'm starting to see. I think Ryan's just betting on the fact that he's gonna try to maximize on his size. He's already acknowledged inside of his head that he's not on Devin Haney's level as far as skill. So what you need to do right now is fight Devin Haney's ego. This will be a fight to see where Devin Haney's at where it comes to mental preparation. Where that did you train all those months and weeks inside of the gym just to allow him to talk shit and to fight his fight? So you're gonna throw away everything that you trained to do for a few words and allow yourself to fight his fight? Or is Devin Haney gonna stick to the plan? Everything, all the drills and everything that they worked on in training camp leading into this fight, they have a plan. And Devin Haney needs to carry it out. I hope Bill Haney and Devin Haney are not sleeping on Ryan's power. And, I heard him once or twice say, oh, Ryan, you ain't got no power. You just fighting tomato cans, you know? But that's not what Tank Davis said. And then I was like, for guys to come out and to say that, one, he won the fight. So, the statute of limitations kind of like over right there because, he already won the fight. So he could speak freely. And he did. And I was like, okay, big dog. If that big puncher like Tank Davis is saying that about that kid, it's true. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, check, you know? And then I was like asking myself, he has speed. He just doesn't have the skill, technically, I don't think, to do slick shit. Ryan's not going to do no slick shit. Not like Tio does. Tio can go into his bag of tricks with when it comes to punching and doing slick shit in the ring. Tio is about that. I like Tio when it comes to that. He does a lot of slick shit in the ring. He does, right? But Ryan's not gonna do that. He ain't no like Tio fighter, right? So it's just gonna be basically a little bit of boxing, and he's just gonna be fighting him. Yeah. And the one thing about boxing, anything can happen. And when they say that expression, Ryan has a puncher's chance, you know, what that means is like if we're in an exchange, me and the guy, Ryan and Devin Haney are in an exchange, what they mean by a puncher's chance means that if I have the chance to connect on you, they believe I can knock you out. That's a puncher's chance. Yeah. So if you hear a lot of people saying Ryan has a puncher's chance tonight, that guy's admitting that they're saying if they do get an exchange, Devin has the same chance though. Devin stands the same chance to knock out Ryan, but they feel that Ryan can do the same. Don't count him out in the fight. So if a lot of guys you hear start saying that, they're starting to think the same way I'm thinking as well. And a lot of us are like not 100% counting Ryan out in this fight. You know, all the frustration of being a professional and everything and all that other stuff. Quickly I was like, man, fuck Ryan. Like, He's gonna get rocked. And there's still a possibility that will happen. Okay. And we're all already thinking that. So, you were already thinking that. All right, he's drinking a beer, look at him missing weight. Devin is going to wipe him down. That's what you were, most of us were. I'm just bringing a different light to all of this. And I'm keeping it funky. I have seen men use this exact strategy before, and it worked out in their favor. And I seen it fail, but I seen it more times work out in the guy that missed weight. You know, he was just a bigger guy and stuff. And I seen him fail too, like I said. But I've seen guys purposely do this. And this is no secret in boxing. The guy just feels like, look, I'm gonna need everything, all the advantages I can get on this fight. And Ryan doesn't want to deplete himself. He doesn't want to be, and I think a lot of social media and fans drilled that into Ryan's head. Didn't you hear him on one of those? If you haven't, check it out if you want, if you would like to, because he talks a lot of shit. So, you might be fed up with it, right? But Ryan Garcia was talking to the guy, and he was like, "You can't even play table tennis dehydrated." Because he was in an interview. One of the guys said, "Oh, I'll be sitting here doing interviews, and I can't even do interviews without drinking water. Imagine fighting Ryan. God bless you for fighting that fight against Tank dehydrated. No one knows how tough that is, right?" Yo, that shit went right to his head. And from that interview, Ryan has not stopped saying that. Yo, you can't play table tennis without being dehydrated. Blah, 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 right? And I think that now he's convinced himself the only reason why he lost that fight against Tank Davis was because he was dehydrated. And I think he's convinced himself of that. That's not why you lost that fight, Ryan Garcia. You lost that fight because you got hit to the body and you didn't get up. That's why you lost the fight. Right? Um, yeah, so dehydration. Mm. So I'm just keeping it fresh, and I'm bringing you a different angle and what I do see happen behind the scenes in boxing. This is what the channel's here for. This is what you got me for. These things, just like many things, are utilized in boxing that are against the rules, but they are in the rules. Like clinching, excessive clinching. You're not supposed to clinch another fighter. That is illegal. But do fighters grab other fighters? Yes. Punching in the balls is illegal. But if you're getting your ass whooped and you need 5 minutes, punch the guy in the balls. It's a strategy. It's there, right? Taking a knee for a standing 8 count. You're getting your ass whooped, your bell's rung. You can see this guy's moving in for the kill. You take a quick knee. Take 8 seconds, clear your mind, get some air back in you, get a little space between you guys, and reset. It's in the rules, you know? And some rules are, they're, not meant for you to do them, but these are things that other men that think outside of the box in key situations, if it will give them the advantage in the fight, they will utilize it. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is one of those situations where Ryan Garcia is utilizing the penalty, the fact that, yeah, I'm not gonna get the belt, and I'm gonna pay you the money for it. But when you make a gamble like that, you better hope you win, because if he gambled on all of this and he loses bad, this all backfires in his face horribly. Yeah, the articles that they're gonna write, like I spoke about this. he still has that magic eraser in his hand. He can still erase a lot of the shit he said and a lot of the stuff these reporters are dying to print after this fight. Once Ryan Garcia falls, those typing, reporting hands, some people already got their article halfway done. The fight hasn't even started. What they feel, Ryan antics and everything he's been doing all the way up until this point. But if he knocks out Devin Haney, you're not writing that. That's not what your boss is gonna want you to write for a story. You better write the what happened. The hottest story right now. I knocked Devin Haney the fuck out. And he can erase all this. He still has it in his hand. So, there's a bad side to all of this. It could really, he pays the 1.5 million. He's out 1.5 million on the fight, missing weight. He loses the fight. All of this can go horribly wrong for him. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he's risking a lot here. So, if you're gonna jeopardize this much, that at some point you did all of this for what? Where was your end goal? Was to win, and he's betting on the fact that he's gonna be able to walk through Devin Haney's punches and hit him with his heavier punches. That's what the whole. That's what they're betting on. Yeah, yeah. I saw that Scooby Snack and take it from him. I got caught with. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I think he's just convincing himself that the only reason why he didn't get up from Tank Davis's body shot is because he was now. Oh yeah, I was dehydrated. Nah, brother, nah. Your fighting skills didn't even look good against Tank Davis. You look green, amateurish at best. That doesn't do away the fact that your offense was fucking whack as fuck, Ryan Garcia. You can blame it on the dehydration and that you were dehydrated and these weight claws and that's why you couldn't sustain the body shot. Okay, I'll give you that. But what about your fighting? What does your body shot got to do with your performance? You look lost in that ring with Tank Davis, my man. You were not, it was clear as day. You two were not on the same level when it came to your skills. Okay, you took a body shot, you were dehydrated. Okay, you just wasn't on the same. So for him to walk away from that night, now saying that it all righted on a body shot because of dehydration. No, my man, there was a lot of other things that were happening in that ring. And you weren't on his level regardless. So, does he think the key is rehydration here? That as long as he's rehydration, all of a sudden he's going to turn into the superior boxer? No, hard work and dedication turns you into a boxer, not what you eat. So he's going to have to be better as well. You see? So, hmm, what is this? The boogies coming and meeting each other here and giving each other shout outs? This is just the boogie show now. You know what I'm saying? It's time. He's made plenty of money in the sport for him to put on his big boy pants and start challenging the the elites at 140. Listen, uh, I don't think I don't think he should have took this fight with Ryan. I don't. Look for as much. It's interesting that shit is right now. I really don't think that. I think that this was actually a waste of his time, Devin Haney, man. And he's kind of starting to see it with all these antics. And now, he played right into this kid's hand, I think. I think Devin Haney should have been fighting Jeremiah Ponce. That would have been a better fight for Devin and a worthy opponent, a better challenge. If you can beat that guy right there, you know, Pedro Ananya, you know, if Devin can beat those guys impressively, now we're talking. Now we're talking much bigger 140 pounders, real 140 pounders, real challengers, you know, guys that are like, you know, I don't want him to see him fight old ass Josh Taylor. No, I wouldn't want to see that. He's not gonna fight Regis Progress again. Like, I mean, he could fight one of the Russells, the undefeated Russell. And for as much as that Russell brothers and all five of them criticize many boxers in the sport of boxing, you know, um, and the way Loma beat on that other Russell brother, and each Russell brother took their losses. Like when Emmanuel Rodriguez beat the other lower weight Russell at 122. Um, you know, all the Russells look okay, decent, but in their own right, they all have huge flaws in their fighting technique. Now, the undefeated 140-pound brother is claiming that he does want all the smoke at 140, but I actually don't think he's ready for some of these guys at 140. Although he does look strong and he moves okay. The Russell brothers do have a good understanding and a rich boxing culture. Just because you got a rich boxing culture, who their dad was, God rest his soul. Shouts out to the Russell's dad. Always keep his memory. Um, he was a good man. And I don't think he's quite there yet. I think Teal beats him, the Russell. Yeah, I got my money on Teal. He's one of those slick punchers that'll give that kind of Russell brother trouble. Yeah, he will. And Subriel Matia will hurt him. Will hurt him. That's right up his alley. Those are the kind of fighters that Matias punishes. Those style of fighters, the Russell, like that. He'll hurt him bad. Um, Devin Haney versus the Russell, it'll just be like Devin Haney will outclass him, outbox him. That'll be a boring fight. It'll be a boring fight. It'll be a few shots here and here. The Russell knock actually like on Devin Haney's speed, and Devin Haney just picking him apart all night, basically. That's kind of what I would see how that fight would go. I just think that the Russells, although they're good, they are good. They are good. Um, they just not completely polished for fighters yet. They're not there yet, you know. Some of the brothers are more far along than other brothers and stuff between the five, but you know, I mean for argument's sake, you would say that the one that's undefeated still is the best one out of them all because he hasn't tasted defeat. But that's not necessarily true. The other one is developing faster. But anyway, that would be an okay fight. What do you guys think about who you guys would like to see him fight? Let me scroll up a little bit and catch you guys. What's up, brother? Yeah, he missed it. Ar Arnando. What's up, Arnando? Salud, baby. Whether or not you believe Loma beat Haney, what's the what's the history books gonna show? Who won the fight? Haney. And if you're gonna take the titles and you're gonna come into the champion's backyard in Las Vegas and beat that kind of champion, You should beat that kind of champion. You shouldn't go to the scorecards in a 12-round fight that it was razor close. In a fight that's razor close, not only are you fighting a champion, right? Which most we all know, if the fight is close, they have a tendency of giving the champion's nod, because you got to you know really beat the champion, right? Out of respect. If it's kind of like a tie, it's gonna go to the champion. But Loma wasn't fighting a one world champion. He was fighting an undisputed world champion. Devin Haney had 4 belts. So in order to beat Devin Haney and take those belts from him, you were gonna have to beat him. And Loma didn't put up that kind of performance. So in my book, Loma lost. No matter how I feel, what I saw, I think Loma did enough to win. But I don't think that Loma did enough to win to take 4 belts from the undisputed champ. No, already no, he didn't. When we're talking like that, no, Loma didn't win the fight then. Now he didn't beat an undisputed champion the way you need to. So Loma lost. Yeah, Haney wants to be like Tank all day. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Hector, what's up? Al, what's up? Al Simpson's Hellspawn, what's up? All money isn't good money. I always say that. All money ain't good money, baby. It was a waste of time, bro, for Devin Haney. It was a waste of time. He should have never took this fight with Ryan Garcia. Now look at all this stupid shit that's coming out of this fight, bro. When he could have been fighting a real worthy opponent that also, as a boxer, we got a member. Thank you. Yo, logging in. Shit, that threw me off. Devin Haney. Let me read Bam Bam Booey's. Okay, taking the money. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it was a negative effect. Yeah, he could have been fighting a better contender, a better person, and the better opponent you fight, it makes you better as a fighter. When I would compete in sports, I wouldn't shy away from the best guy in the sport. I was the kind of guy, the crazy guy, right? That I would talk shit to him. And I knew he was better than me. I always knew it, right? I didn't tell him that, you know, and I would make him beat me if he could, okay? Because I was bringing my A game. Why? I wanted to get better. I want to get better. And eventually, I'm going to beat him. And whatever sport it was, whether it was basketball, handball, football, whatever it was, because I played them all. I played it all when I was younger. So that's how my approach to a lot of shit was. You know, I just wanted to play with the guys that were better than me, you know, and then once I played with them for a while, I'd go down and whoop on some lower guys to make myself feel better. You know what I mean? Right? So, like in every basketball, handball, baseball, whatever it is, yeah, that's how it goes. So, you always want your competition to be, on your level, at least on your level or pushing you to be better. If your last 2 fights, didn't oppose any threat, Regis Progress did nothing to Devin Haney. And I understand that was a title fight. That's a no brainer. I'm going to take that fight, right? But after that, he should have fought better competition. And like I said, what Devin Haney is fighting right now is a name. That's what he's fighting right now. He's fighting Ryan Garcia's name. Yeah. So that's different. That's just different. So, let me get down here with you guys. his eyes look so sunk in, Thomas, right? The weight drain, it was a lot. And Ryan Garcia looks great. He looks fully hydrated at the fucking weigh-in. He didn't look like, talking shit. And and Devin looked frail. He looked frail. Devin Haney needs a bottle of water right now. Like he was like, and Ryan was like, oh, on stage. Like if you saw Devin Haney didn't try to smack Ryan on stage. He didn't try anything on stage when Ryan was in his face like this. He didn't do anything today because Devin is weak at that moment. He's weak as hell. It looked like Devin Haney went on a coke run in Las Vegas for a week, and they just found Devin Haney strung out. Right? That's what he looked like. He was like this, right? He looked hurt, and that that's not good on your kidneys, on your liver, cutting all that weight like that all the time. Devin Haney's body's growing. He needs a lot of this. Let's remind you that this was also during the time of his Muslim holiday, where that he had to break fast once again, just like in the Loma fight. Okay. So they knew when to attack him. He just looked real frail. April 9th was the the cutoff. I think it started, his religion started this year, March 10th, and it ended April 9th. Okay. So Devin Haney was supposed to train on an empty stomach for this training camp. And he had to break it again at the end. He couldn't do it no more. You see? And he said that that would be his last fight that he's taking around this time. You see? So, I'm just thinking about a lot of these things right now. They're going through my head. Why is Ryan doing this? Sometimes you got to pay attention to your opponent's moves on the board. Why did he push that pawn up? Why is he sliding his castle across the back? Why isn't he attacking right now? You sometimes you got to pay attention to what your opponent is doing. Listen, there's a saying in life, right? And I've said this before on my channel. Keep your friends close and your enemy even closer. I'm sure many of you have heard that. But when I heard that expression, for some reason, it clicked inside of my head. And I view that way different than anybody else I've ever heard say it, right? When I hear that expression, keep your friends close, you need your friends to be in your corner when bullshit is around you to block bullshit for you. You need your circle, you need your friends. Keep your friends close, but your enemy even closer. My greatest enemy is myself. I'm my greatest enemy. I always have been. I don't need anyone to get me in trouble. I think real good for myself and I get myself into all kinds of shit just fine by myself. I am my greatest enemy. I am my greatest critic. If I keep a close eye on my greatest enemy, which is myself, and I pay attention to my weaknesses, why do I go to these people's houses? Why do I hang out with this guy? Why do I do this? And I keep focus on my greatest enemy, my friends will be there to help me. I'm already surrounded by my friends. Keep your friends close. They would already be around me while I keep my greatest enemy locked down, myself. I deny myself worldly pleasures, not because I can't go out and get them, but I know where they lead. I deny myself such things, not because I can't get it, but the allure of not getting it keeps my ambition alive. So I deny myself such pleasures just to punish myself, to keep myself moving for the very thing I can just grab. You see, I don't want the fire to go away. Keep it burning. My greatest enemy has always been myself. Always. Keep your friends close, but your enemy even closer. Pay attention to yourself. That's how I've always viewed it. I was never the type of dude to be like keep an eye on my enemy. Is that motherfucker watching me? Like he has enough time to pay attention to me. He has enough time to pay attention to me. Like what? No. And I just looked inward one day, and I was like, nigga, excuse my, I'm hood. I'm sorry. You're your greatest enemy, man. It's you. And I was just like, yeah. So I don't know if that would help anybody look at things a little different or the way I view things, you know what I mean? But that's how I view shit, you know? Thank you, bro. Yo, yeah, man. Listen, so, sometimes, a lot of these antics by these guys, and you might think that they are, and you might think that the guy is like falling apart, but sometimes that's exactly what they are. But sometimes are exactly what it is. Maybe we're watching a meltdown right in front of us, and this is what is coming out. And it all depends on what's going to happen tomorrow night, guys. Other than that, I'm curious. I got to watch the fight now. And in a way, I guess these guys are geniuses, right? Because now I even want to watch them fight more. And it's all the unknowns we put in the fight on ourselves. Because Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney are not here. They haven't said a word. Just allow me to think. I'll make the fight interesting myself. Right? Right? So with everything that they're giving us, so I guess Ryan is in a way, but I could see where this would turn some fans off, you know. And some fight fans might just tune in just to see if Ryan gets defeated, so when is the fight? Tomorrow night, Saturday. Yeah. Thank you guys. What's up, baby? Thanks. For 19 days? Yeah. Yeah, it keeps you grounded. Imagine training like that though, my man. Fasting and training. You can't eat in the morning or nothing. And when do you do your training? In the morning. When the body is awakened, when it's at its strongest. When you go out throughout your day and through the course of the day, you constantly lifting your arms. You don't want to go train at 7, 8 o'clock at night. You're probably like drained already throughout the course of the day. So training like that on an empty stomach, that can't be good. That can't be good. You know, you're not paying to watch them. Yeah, I hear you, brother. See, some people might not want to watch the fight. Some people might want to keep their money for a better fight in the future. Maybe you want to see Canelo Alvarez fight and you rather buy that fight than buy this fight. Maybe you want to see Naoya Inoue, the Japanese fighter, um a real four division belt champion, put it all on the line. It's whatever you're into, you know? So maybe you want to see the Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion. We haven't had unified, undisputed. I mean, we have had a unified, I'm sorry. We haven't had an undisputed heavyweight champion in about 20 years. In about 20 years. I don't was Mike Tyson one of the last people? Lennox Lewis might have did it because during their era, remember, the WBO wasn't it was like an era where the WBO wasn't considered a world champion. So at that time all you needed was 3 belts to be undisputed. Mike Tyson only had 3 belts and he was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You see, we're in a 4 belt era. And since what made the WBO a major sanctioning body belt and recognized by all sanctions was when Oscar de la Hoya and Bernard fought in Madison Square Garden to unify all 4 belts. Yeah. So, and that's on that night, it's when it became a legitimately world title. Yeah. So who is the last undisputed? I knew this. I know shit like this, bro. But I know it was like 20 years ago. I'm not sure. I think Lennox Lewis. Something. Who is after Lennox? Who went on their reign? I can't remember all this shit right now. But I'll look that shit up. But it is interesting, you know. So if that's what you want to see, what are you into? You know, um, I cover boxing, so I gotta watch it. I cover boxing. Unfortunately, I can't be biased on no boxer. I'm critical to boxers, and I'll get on boxers' asses. You guys know. But just like I show the advantage of the boxer, I'll show what I think how to defeat that same boxer. I'm never biased. I'm not gonna just, you know, be but I share my insight on what in particular situations, but and then when we dive right into the fight and fights are just as I'll break them down and stuff, and we'll talk about fighters and things like that. It's funny, right? When they were mentioning today some of the biggest hitters and biggest punchers in all of boxing, and they were saying that Ryan Garcia got dropped by Tank Davis. The 2 people that they said were like the biggest punchers was David the Monster Benavides and Tank Davis. And they said that they were the best punchers in all of boxing. And I was like, wait a minute, you guys might be missing somebody. Like, let's give recognition to the smaller guy here. You know what I mean? He's putting in some work. So I was just like, well, it goes to show that the Japanese superstar, I would like him to come in a fight in America. He really needs to let like everybody know who he is and put up those kind of fights so we can see those kind of fights. Yeah, his fights are so explosive, you know. Um, and since he's moving up to 126, it's even gonna get better from here. So yeah, I gotta see him. I gotta see him. I'm definitely staying up. And that fight is in Tokyo, Japan. So remember, fight fans, that will be an early fight. It's gonna be like at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. He fights on a Monday. On a Monday. You'll see it in America on Tuesday. Yeah. So when it's Tuesday morning out here, it's Monday night out there in Japan. That's how it goes. So we're like Tuesday morning, we're waking up to see his fight. But, because the world time and shit, he's technically Monday night over there still. Yeah. I don't know why he fights on Monday. I gotta go check that out again. I did know that. you know, um, yeah, he has a tendency of fighting on Mondays and shit. So, yeah, he's a good fighter. He's a great fighter, in fact. So I would encourage you to check him out. And if you haven't or don't know much about him, you can go watch his highlights. I don't think they really do them. I mean, they're explosive, and you're gonna see right away what I'm talking about. But if you go back and watch better highlights, like you don't have to watch necessarily the whole round. They got highlights where they quickly like speed past the corner, but they show you the entire fight. But they cut out a lot of it, like the corner time. It just goes from round to round to round, but it doesn't break away from the round. You should see those kind of highlights from him, and it's really nice when you're watching him set up punches rather than in a highlight. They just bring you right to the action. You don't know what the leading events took place before the action, and he's that kind of fighter. You really want to see his style and his technique unfold before the destruction power that is Naoya the monster in a way. Yeah. The reason why he's so explosive and a lot of people are talking about him is because of the trail of bodies he left in his wake, and it's been apparent that when they started saying right away, oh, what he's doing is easy. Really? Why hasn't anybody else done it? Why is it that he's the first man to unify all four belts in the bantamweight division in about 50 years? And the last time to unify, I think it was a two belt era. It was only you can only win two belts. That's how far long ago a unified, undisputed champion in the bantamweight division. There has been no men to be able to sustain such a feat. Those men are so fast and quick that on your next fight, and they're so dangerous that you have the potential of losing your next fight. And if you were successful to defend one belt, it was very unlikely that you would accumulate belts as a bantamweight champion. It was just too much competition, and the competition was, because as you see, when you go down to the lower weight division, they're a lot faster down there. Up, more power. See, he's a special blend, a very unique blend, where that sometimes you have a fighter, he has more power, less skill, more skill, less power. He has both, and that's why he's waking up a lot of people down there, because actually what he's doing down in the bantamweight divisions has truly never been seen before in all of boxing. If you were to put his record against any boxer current in the sport of boxing, he has everyone beat. There is not a single boxer active in boxing right now that has a better resume than that Japanese dude. No one. There's no one. Terrence Crawford technically should be standing behind them. Technically. As far as popularity wise, America, we're not going to let that happen. We're always going to say Terrence Crawford should be standing in front of him. One, they're going to say, oh, he's a bigger fighter. He fights bigger guys, which is all lies, right? You That's just a big misconception, right? Um, he's fighting guys that are his same size, Terrence Crawford. He's actually in that weight division. How could he be fighting bigger guys? That's a fucking lie, right? So, but if we were just to blindfold, if I was to take literally all their pictures off the table, you can bring me 10 guys' resumes right now, active in boxing. Bring me the best boxer's record you think you can think of. The most decorated champion up to date. Whether he has the belts now or previous, like a Jamel Charlo or Josh Taylor, they all count. If you accomplish something in boxing, then it counts. In order to say he's better than anybody currently, well, then you got to currently count everything that's happening. And everything, as long as he's active, okay. And I'll give you 10 years back. Find me any fighter 10 years ago and today to put it up against his record, right? And if I was to take the pictures of all the table and just leave their records, and I was to have you one by one come read their records, and you didn't know where the record matched to the picture, there was no pictures, and I was to ask you, Just by what you're reading that's on the table in front of you, who's the best fighter in the world? Undoubtedly, you guys are going to pick up this guy's record. It's just the best record. It's just there's no way around it. There is literally no way around it. The only thing Terrence Crawford has is that he was the first man to unify all four belts in two separate weight divisions. But wait a minute, he also did that. So one accomplishment wipes out another accomplishment. And I'm not even going to take in the fact that he smashed Terrence Crawford's time frame. Meaning, Terrence Crawford took him 6.5 years to unify all four belts at 147. It took him 6 months to do that. Not 6.5 years, 6 months. He smashed Terrence Crawford's time frame. But you know what? I don't care about time. I'm not going to even use that. You did it, he did it, so what? So, as long as you both did it, that's what I'm saying. So, his and his wipes out each other. Okay, what else did you guys do? That's where he separates from Terrence Crawford like so far. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. Not to mention, Terrence Crawford is only a 3 division world champion. The Japanese guy is a 4. So he already has them beating that. Not to mention that he took Terrence Crawford's record. What Terrence Crawford got? 40 fights? The Japanese dude is being talked about with a fighter that has 40 fights and he only has 26 fights. Right? It's crazy. How the fuck are you matching me to a guy that only has 26 fights? Why? Because that means that he's doing double the work. It means he took your 40 fights and he cut it in half. He accomplished everything you accomplished. What it took you a lifetime to accomplish, Terrence Crawford, he did it in half the time. That's like Steph Curry destroying Larry Bird's 3-point record. Yo, the time frame he's doing is ridiculous. It's just, you can't dispute that. That's what's happening with him. The only thing I've ever really criticized the Japanese superstar for, in fact, is that he's doing it too good. Yeah, he's doing it a little too good. He's doing it so good, in fact, that he doesn't have that kind of career where he's going to surpass some of the greats, like Floyd. Like he can never catch Floyd in the 50-0. That's not going to happen. He he has 26 fights. He needs 24 more fights just to catch him. He's 30 years old. He'll be 31. He's not going to catch Floyd. 24 more fights. Hell no. And he's not going to catch Floyd as in world champions. Somebody said he fully fought 23. I thought he was 26. Either way, that's 23 world champions. The Japanese superstar has only fought 13 so far. He would need another 10 world champions to volunteer to fight him. That's just 10 fights in itself. He's 30. He's never going to catch him. He's not going to catch him. He did all this shit so fast. And the 2 years that were wasted with the corona epidemic, that took away 2 years from his career. It took away 2 years from everybody's career, even Terrence Crawford's. Terrence Crawford could be a way better champion because of that too. He had a lot of ups and downs. But at the end of the day, I understand a lot of fighters' situations. Yeah, I understand it. But I also understand what's going to go down on paper at the end of the day. And that's what counts. No matter what anyone says, it doesn't matter. The Hall of Fame doesn't accept bullshit. They only accept your belts, your accolades. What did you do during your run? That's all they're going to ask. They're not going to debate. Yo, we think that the Japanese superstar is good, but he can't be better than Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford's so much bigger than him and taller. That doesn't necessarily make you a better fighter. If you didn't do better than me in your career, how the hell can you just be awarded a better fighter just because you're bigger? You're just a naturally bigger person. But I did more shit than you? But somehow, just because you're taller than me, that automatically makes you a better fighter, which is ridiculous. It doesn't matter how tall, it's what you did. At the end of the day, it's what's on paper. That's it. Like all these people can talk shit to Tom Brady. All he has to do is lift up his hands and show them rings, baby. It shuts all that shit up, bro. The conversation's over, right? And that's what I mean about guys like this. And he will get his recognition because men like this are the reason why the sport needs to like open their eyes and take a page out of his book, right? He's not ducking his David the Monster Benavides. Had there been a David the Monster Benavides in his weight division, he would have already fought him. He's waiting for a Davis the Monster Benavides type fighter. He's bored. He needs himself a Tank Davis. He needs these kind of fights. When fighters shy away from those kind of challenges in their career, men like this are the men that are keeping it those kind of champions that you can look at that champion and later look back and say, that was a fucking champion. Bro, he didn't duck anyone. He smashed everyone that had a belt, all the top guys. And when I'm watching that, I'm saying, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. And then people have a misconception of saying Saul is the face of boxing. What you mean Saul Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing? You mean you can test positive on steroids and be the face of boxing? That's who you want for the face of boxing? So you could just yeah. Oh no, because he makes the most money. No, you're just making the most money, but you shouldn't be considered the face of boxing. A fucking cheater? You want that as a poster boy, a cheater. So that you can have some people debating and pointing out your fighter. You don't need criticism on that poster. You don't need criticism. You don't need the Tank Davis, the sport of boxing. Ask that pregnant woman that he hit in the car and ask her family if he's the face of boxing or he should be considered the face of boxing. I'll wait. Ask the judge that sentenced him. Should Tank Davis be? No. You make a lot of money in boxing, but I don't think you should be considered the face of boxing. The face of boxing should be a man like that, in my honest opinion. It should be a man that holds himself with character, class, dangerous, effective, a great champion in and out of the ring. My opinion. So that when you put that face up there, right, they see greatness, excellence, power, a man taking business in and out of the ring, a real champion, not pop for steroids, not out drinking, smashing cars, smacking, none of that shit. And that's what I mean about the face of sport of boxing. Why isn't this guy being like put up there? If you could put a red-headed Mexican dude, right? He don't even look Mexican, Saul, and say he's come on, man. Come on, man. Like, are you really? What does he have to do? Dye his hair and get red freckles? What does he have to do? He's legitimately way better of a fighter than that man. Saul Canelo Alvarez couldn't hold his jockstrap when it comes to skills. Hell no. Hell no. I know Saul's a bigger guy. All right, so what? He's a way better fighter, a way better technician, a way better puncher, a more exciting, a fan pleasing fighter. He doesn't back up. When Devin Haney had Regis Progress and all that kind of trouble, he spoke about this and he criticized Devin Haney for not having that that warrior spirit to want to finish your opponent when you got him finished. Finish him. You know what I mean? Type shit. And he wanted to play it safe. He's the type of guy that's going to be like, finish him. You know what I mean? So, I'm really advocating and supporting boxing. And I made this boxing channel to make sure my whole objective behind this boxing channel was giving the right fighters their just dues. The real men and women that are doing it the right way. And necessarily that didn't always come with that you had to be the best. But in this case, it just so happens that I believe the best fighter in the world is one of the most humblest fighters in the world. Ironically. You see what I'm saying? So, look, it's not like he intended on hitting the girl in the car, but this is not a secret. Tank Davis went to jail for this. He was placed on house arrest, and then they took him out of house arrest, and he served the remaining of his time in jail. In the trial, when he hit the girl, Tank Davis had one of those Lamborghini hatchback cars. It was like a Lamborghini, but it was like a station wagon type Lambo when they first came out. Tank hit her with that. And then the girl says in the statement in the court, I watched it. She said, I looked into his eyes and I asked for help. Tank Davis looked me right in the face and he just ran. And she was like all of, I don't know, so many months pregnant, whatever amount of months she was. But she was with child when Tank Davis hit her in his car, maybe drunk or whatever. And accidents happen. I don't think he intentionally did it. But the fact that that lady said that, and she was the one that didn't take the money. Everybody else in the car was paid off by Tank. They didn't take it to trial. The pregnant girl is the only person in the car that didn't take the money and said, nah, fuck that. I want Tank Davis to go to jail because he didn't even help me. And that's what he went to jail over. You see? Now, in the steroid testing with Saul Canelo Alvarez, Saul Canelo Alvarez got popped with for PE, which is a steroid. He came on social media, it's blatant. The world knows he got popped. This is no secret. He had a board. They gave him a sanction for 6 months. They found him guilty. They suspended him for 6 months. During the time on suspension, he negotiated a fight, came on suspension, and just fought. It was basically like a training camp for him. They did nothing to the man. That what I just did was worse than what they did handed out to Saul Canelo Alvarez for testing positive on steroids. His excuse was he ate tainted meat from bodegas in Mexico that had that steroid in their meat. He ain't never ate no bodega meat a day in his life after he left Mexico poverty. He's a millionaire. He has chefs. They order their meats. It comes in the freshest meats. He's a multi-million dollar athlete and a multi-million dollar man himself. But yet he wants you to think he was eating bodega meat. Come on, man. Come on, man. And that's what I mean about the face of boxing in the sport. You know, careful what you're stamping because of what you hear. Yes, he's one of the most paid. I can't debate that. But making you the most paid does not always should make you the face of boxing. I believe the face of boxing should be the type of fighter they should advertise that's a complete fighter in and out of the ring. Whether he likes it or not, he is a role model for young men and women that are looking up to that fighter. You can't be all splattered all over the TV and the newspapers. Tank Davis hits pregnant woman in car accident and flees on foot after she pleads for help. That's your face? That's what you want? That's what you want giving to your kids. I understand shit happens. That doesn't make Tank Davis any less or bad of a person. We all make mistakes in this world. If you've never made a mistake in your life, you have the right to scrutinize Tank Davis. But if you have made a mistake, then you can understand how we make mistakes. He was young, a lot of money, drinking around the wrong people. I'm not excusing his actions, but I just don't think he's mature enough to take the torch as the face of boxing right now. Could he relive that? Could he correct his wrongdoings? Absolutely. Anyone should be given a second chance to change their stars. You can build yourself back up, absolutely, to the face of boxing. But you're not going to get caught for steroids. That's worse than some car accident. That's actually cheating in your sport that they're awarding you what? The face of boxing? No, that's why Canelo Alvarez in recent years has not been arguing that point. Have you noticed? Media silence when it comes to I'm the face of boxing. There are a lot of people that don't feel that same way just because you make a shitload of money. Okay? So, that's I'm just, that's how I feel. So, Canelo is one of the smartest fighters. Yes, he is. In the ring? Oh, no, no, that's a different conversation. We're not talking about his skills in the ring. That would, that now we would be talking about something totally different and have different viewpoints on that. I do not allow what he did to reflect on his skills, and just because, yeah, he got caught, you know, PEs, right? He was trying to, I guess, heal an injury or something to come back. The quickest way to heal an injury in your body is a steroid, and he got caught during that time. Yeah, he did. I'm not sure if he's ever been juicing the entire time. I'm not ready to say that. I have no proof. And I can't just come out and accuse the man of that. But I do know about the injury. And I do know that it was around that time because I did my homework. Okay. So I was like, okay, I see what he was doing. Just like when Luis Pantera Nares popped for the PE in Japan. When he beat the Japanese superstar, he came back and missed weight by 5 pounds. The type of PE that he was taking was specifically a fat burner. It was meant to cut weight. It didn't give you any power, any extra advantages in the fight, only a fat burner for that he can make that weight. Without that PE, he came in 5 pounds heavier. And in fact, he came in 5 pounds heavier and knocked him out in the second round. Ryan Garcia is coming in 3.5 pounds heavier, and those is one of the fights that I've said that when fighters use that as the way, you know, Luis Pantera Nares saw that he couldn't make the weight. He wasn't going to kill himself and do, he just accepted his fate. He came in 5 pounds heavier, and he was fully plenished, and he gained the amount of weight he needed to the next night, and he felt great. He had a good night of sleep. He wasn't struggling to put all these electrolytes back in his body, and he went out there and he knocked him out. He beat him worse when he came in 5 pounds heavier, and that's when they banned him. In fact, yeah. So Well, Fernando, I'll let you tell him that. He's asking you. Uh, well, it should be judged by the champion's wins. Well, yeah, it should be judged by champion wins too. But remember, when you're looking at it, that avenue, what I've been talking about is going to come and hit you from the back. How you're performing outside of the ring. You could be a great winner. Both of these men are great winners in the ring, Tank Davis and Saul Canelo Alvarez. They're great winners. They're, in fact, decorated champions, right? So winning doesn't always solidify it for me. You have to be complete. You can't be out in bars, they're photographing you, smacking hookers' asses with money and all this other shit, or even women. And there's just one problem with that: you're married, and the world knows it. That's not a good look. You're out here doing drugs, getting high. You're out here crashing cars, carrying guns. Look at that basketball player, that young man. He got caught not once, but twice showing a gun on Instagram. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? How stupid is that? We all know the talent that he is on the court. He's winning on the court, but he's losing in life. Are they going to NBA ready to put him up for the face of NBA? They were ready to do it. They were ready to welcome a next NBA young star, top prospect. He gets bagged on social media, gun after gun. He has to come and make apologies. No sooner did he finish that first apology, bam, back on social media with another gun. It was ridiculous. They wanted to kick him out, like, yo, like, suspend him for a year or something. And that's what I mean. I dig your point, Boogie. Yeah, yeah, it should be based on wins, but and then it's just what I was talking about is just going to come into play. What are you doing after? That all affects you, and it affects your sport. When you go to work, you put on your job's uniform. You know what I'm saying? You're representing the company. You can't go to work when your job has a uniform and you're working for, hypothetically, you're working at McDonald's and you walk in with a Burger King uniform. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. You got to carry yourself both highly. And I just believe that the men and women that they choose to put out to be the face, you are going to have to check out a few boxes. And in this day and era, it seems like the most popular or who's selling is automatically going to catapult to the forefront. But when you catapult to the forefront, all I'm saying is you have a responsibility as a world athlete, whether you want it or not. Doesn't matter. Oh, I want to be the champion, but I don't want to be the responsibility of being anybody's role model. Fuck you, drink beer, yeah. Like, no, cut. Like, no, right? And then now in today's society, they're like, yeah, show that drinking, so that way they never train, make it to the fight. They're too busy drinking, and it'll fill up my prisons. The officers that I hired that I'm getting paid are gonna fill up my prison. You know what I mean? So it's all going down somewhere. So some people fall for these kind of traps in life, and when you're just trying to send out the right message, to keep your sport prestigious, I'm not sure if the NBA wants, the face of the NBA to be like on a TikTok showing a gun for America. That's not. And all it takes is for one fatal shooting out there in some school or something, and you get the backlash of everything. Ooh, I've seen that happen too. So you just don't want to tie yourself to those kind of situations. That's all I'm saying. As the face, So yeah, there's a lot of guys you could put, and women. There's a lot. There's a lot, but you know, just you're gonna wanna yeah, you're gonna wanna put the right one and not send the wrong message. You know, that would be like saying, okay, we're not gonna put Saul Canelo Alvarez. You know who the next face of boxing is? Conor Ben. He's now in America. We're gonna put Conor Ben as the next face of boxing. Wait a minute. Yo, he got tested for positive in steroids too. Right? So you don't want to take one guy, what I'm saying is, and put another guy with some bullshit behind him. Like in actuality, they took Saul and Tank. Once Saul fell, they tried to put Tank, and then Tank was just as bad on the background. But in boxing, it is truly the wild, wild west, and you can get away with anything in boxing that you can't get away in other sports. You can do whole bunch of shit, but it's getting tighter. It's getting tighter. They're starting to clean a lot of things up. 2003 has been a big year for boxing, and everybody playing ball. What's up, subscriber? Yeah, here at Round One Sports Talk, where's every fight start at round one. Absolutely. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Please give the channel a like. Come on, can we up in here? Come on. Let's show the love. Let me get some likes. Come on, guys. Show the love. Show the love. After the something like that, Armando. You're back to Armando now. Yo, something like that. It was some shit like that, right? But one of the biggest stories in Puerto Rico, which was like Boating Queen and all that, like Armando was saying right there, right? And then the guys got the gold, took off, whatever, right? But one of the biggest things I take away from Puerto Ricans that on the island for a long time they did away with racism. The Puerto Ricans were the only race that I understood. I'm not, I don't look up everybody else's shit. I just pay attention. I look up a lot of other stuff, but mainly pay attention to where, what am I? I had to ask the question, so I went searching, and what I found interesting is that Puerto Ricans were the second youngest ethnic group, the second to last to evolve. Out of all the races in the world, we are second to last to come about, right? And the way you make a Boricua is three bloodlines: Spain, Taino Indian, and Black African, right? Bloodline. So what happened was when the Spaniards, which were the most powerful, they had the most money at that time, those were the explorers. They had black slaves on their boats and they landed in Boarding Queen where the Taino Indians were. Okay. Now you have to think about this rationally, right? If the Taino Indians were there first, they had to be the indigenous people, meaning they were the majority. There was no way you can convince me that a billion fucking Spaniards were on that boat and half of them stood there and dominated the island, right? Because everyone speaks Spanish, Spain. But if the Taino Indians were there, wouldn't their language be the most dominant? Hey, so the way I broke it down was the Spaniards were the smartest. They were the most educated. They came from Spain. They were caught. They were voyagers. They, when you make up and the Spain is putting up the gold for these voyages to explore, right? You're not gonna send out the fucking janitor, right? You're gonna fucking Spain's gonna pay, the captain and the guys that are the most educated, right? And they're going out there with men and they got all their equipment, but there's education on those boats. You better believe it. Spain ain't just funding anybody. So when they arrived in Puerto Rico, what happened from what I'm breaking it down, right? In my head, I wasn't there, right? In order for the Spaniards to dominate the language across the land, they had to be the smartest. Meaning the Taino Indians needed to find out what the fuck they were saying because they were building shit that the Taino Indians must have never experienced. So instead of learning your language, for me in order to explain something to you, if I'm the smartest person on the island, why don't you learn my language? It'll be easier for you to learn my language for me to. So that had to be the Spaniards. So that means that the Spaniards had to be the smartest, right? I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened on the island, but at some point, somebody got somebody's chief's daughter pregnant. She ends up coming out black or something, or Spaniard, right? And they was like, wait a minute, she's not 100% Taino Indian. That baby's got to go. Chief stood up and said, check it out. From this day forward, you're no longer Taino Indian. You're no longer black. And you're no longer Spain. He said, what are we going to call ourselves? We are one. We are called Boricua. Boricua, translated in English, means brave lords, right? So from that moment on, they were no longer black. He was no longer Taino Indian. And he was no longer Spaniard. We were Boricua. When the Americans hit the island in whatever year it was, they noticed the Latin tongue. It wasn't no different. It was a little bit broken in dialect, but it was Latin. The Spaniards confirmed they got there. So the Americans, what do they always do? The Americans' tactic is to divide you, to segregate you and put a label, a name. We were all on that island, black, white, Indian. That's why our women look like Pocahontas. And some of them look like European, like blonde hair, blue eye, like Spaniards. And then some of our women are morena, like my aunt, Titi Morena, negra, right? My grandmother's black as shit, right? And we didn't see color. We were one as people. Blonde hair, blue eyes, black, Indian, it didn't matter. We all lived there in harmony until the Americans came and relabeled our island as Puerto Rico, they changed it, and they changed us to Hispanic and labeled us after our island. We're Puerto Rican because we come from the island of Puerto Rico. And they separated us from black, white, Asian. And on my island, we didn't live like that. You see, they had ended racism. They introduced it back to us. There's your history lesson for the day. Listen, love you guys. Yo, I don't know. I broke it down. I'm sorry I went down there. I'm supposed to be talking boxing, but sometimes I like to chop it up about other things. You know, listen, guys, love you guys. Been chopping it up. It's getting late. Um, and we have a fight tomorrow. So tune in with me tomorrow. If you want to see when I go on, press that bell icon. It'll alert you when I'm making a video and I'm getting in, and what time I'll be logging on for that Ryan Garcia. And please give a like to the video. If you like the video and you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed the content, support me. Give me a like, please. And like always, I'm always, working to put out the best. Let me read out my man, what's up, baby? How you doing? All right. Thank you, Randy. What's up, baby? That was amazing, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Armando. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a different time back then, gentlemen. Gentlemen, it has been a blast. Love you guys always. From me to here to you guys at Round One, me from Round One Sports Talk to you guys. Listen, it has been an episode. Thank you. I always enjoy it. I'm on to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk. Give me a like, guys. Love you guys. Bam, bam.